Okay, good to go.
Okay. Bonjour, Anine, Minungajib. Welcome to the special RTC meeting, October 1921. I wish it was 1921. 2021. I would first like to offer condolences to the Good Sky family for the loss of a family member yesterday. And Jean has already done invocation. Our spiritual advisor has already done invocation at his home this morning. With that, we'll get the meeting started. Roll call, please.
Kathy Chavers,
Here.
David Morrison,
Here.
Travis Morrison,
Here.
Shane Drift,
Oma, here.
Peter Boney.
Here.
I'd also like to welcome Ellen Little, who is filling in as director today, executive director. Robbie Gogolai, executive director, could not be with us today. So Ellen is filling in for him. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you.
Okay, I will call a meeting to order at 9:17 a.m. First item is approval of the agenda. Go ahead, Elle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to add, we have a couple of additions to the agenda. The first additional item is a letter of support for Renika Love. And I believe Chris Holm is going to be presenting that.
Okay, we'll put that right after Doris Isham and Dave Dance.
Okay. And the next item is Nikki Irving will be requesting mobile vaccine unit for ambulance conversion.
Okay.
The next one is Tony Wakema with Adopt a Highway for Palmquist Road.
Okay.
And Amber Zapata with Jane, can you help me out?
Yes, it is Ode Emene Jesus. What that means is June.
Okay.
Farmers Market.
Okay, great. Also, in addition to the agenda, will be right after the consent agenda, will be a resolution on the banishment of Jennifer Bodo. And also we will have Reed LeBeau give an explanation of the court case that happened this past Monday. And so we will add that right after the consent agenda. Any other additions or changes to the agenda? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda with those additions.
Move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Next, we have approval of the minutes from October 6, 2021. Any questions on the minutes? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes from October 6, 2021.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Next, we have introduction of new staff.
That's me. Hang on.
Okay, we got Kim on with Vanessa Little, so hold on a second.
Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
I'd like to introduce Vanessa Little. She's one of our COVID workers. She's coming in to help us with the emergency rental assistance program till the end of the calendar year. She's a great asset and she's catching on really fast.
Welcome, Vanessa. Know you'll do a great job.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for helping us out.
Yep, welcome aboard.
Have a good day, ladies.
Next up, we have, well, Ellen Little and Janelle.
I know Janelle was trying to get on a little earlier, but she wasn't sure if it started yet.
Well, I'd like to introduce Ellen Little first. Oh, there's Janelle.
Good morning.
Good morning, Janelle. Can you turn your camera on?
Let's see. Which little button do we push here? I don't know.
That's okay. Never mind. That's okay, Janelle.
Okay.
I'd like to welcome Janelle Gogolai and Ellen Little, our co-housing directors. They started, when did you guys start? What were your start dates?
I
There she is.
started 2 weeks before Janelle, but I started September 13th.
Okay,
And I started September 27th.
okay, great. I know these girls will do a great job. We're looking forward to the changes or the updates and the motivation of these two for the housing department. And so we know you guys will do a great job, and welcome aboard and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thanks, girls. Have a good day. Well,
Yep.
Ellen's got to stay on because she's filling up. So. Okay, any others, Elle?
Yeah, we have,
That's it. That's it.
oh, that's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we will move on to the consent agenda. And we have approved the request from Eddie Chavers to sole source Office 360 licenses from Compudyne in the amount of $64,375. Approve the request from Travis Vaki to change order events number 2 for the Vermilion Motor Room. Approve the request from Kim Greiner to sole source renewal of Time Track in the amount of $9,066.96. And then approve the request from Niji Nation at Northwood School to raffle off 2 ribbon skirts for the Net Lake Powwow being held October 16th. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Actually, there's one more on there.
Oh, I'm sorry, contract with Bluestone Strategy, ARPA Strategic Planner. Thank you, Shane.
Question on that one is how much are we contracting with them for?
I believe the initial amount was 15,000.
And kind of wonder if we could explain just a little bit what they're going to be doing for us on behalf
sure.
of the band members.
The contract at Bluestone Strategy is for them to, when this pandemic started, we knew there was money coming down from the American Rescue Plan. And basically what it is the dollars, the $28 million we got from the US Treasury. And so the directors of every department and Fortune Bay put together lists of projects that could possibly be used with this money. And so we have a list of over, I believe, almost 200 projects that we have. So what Bluestone is going to come in and do now as a strategic planner, now that they've been officially contracted with, is they're going to meet with all of us, council included, and the directors and Fortune Bay, and go through us and help us come up with a strategic plan to see what the priority projects will be. We did our emergency projects, which is the dam, our boiler, and some of the other things. But now they'll put into place a map and a plan of what our projects will be and listed in priority. So that's what they're going to come in and do, assist us with.
I think I'd just like to point out too is that other reservations are getting the either this company or other companies similar to it to help them in their process of planning out programs and stuff too in projects. So,
Yep, correct. Mille Lacs actually had Bluestone strategy, and they had over 90 plus projects for Mille Lacs. And Bluestone came in with their strategic planners there, and they ended up having 7 categories with 30 projects rather than, almost 100. So that's what Bluestone will assist us with. Okay. Any other questions or comments or explanations on the consent agenda? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have the resolution for banishment for Jennifer Lynn Bodo. And I will read the resolution and then we'll ask Reed if he can explain what happened at court, because I know that there's some questions or concerns, maybe comments, but he can give a more brief legal aspect as to what happened in court. I'll start with the third whereas down. The RTC finds it is sometimes necessary to remove and exclude from the Bois Forte Reservation non-Indians who by their actions threaten the peace, health, safety, morals, or general well-being of the band, its members, or other persons living within the band's territory. And whereas Jennifer Lynn Bodo is a non-Indian who on 2,994 occasions between January 2013 and October 2019 stole a combined total of $315,793.87 from Fortune Bay Resort Casino while working for Fortune Bay as a front desk supervisor. And whereas the actions of Jennifer Lynn Bodo constitute a significant threat to the health and general welfare of the band and its members by depriving the band of limited revenue it utilizes for critical governmental services for its members, and whereas Jennifer Lynn Bodo pled guilty in federal court to 1 count of embezzlement and theft of tribal funds and on October 18, 2021, was sentenced to 8 months in federal prison in order to make full restitution of all funds she stole from the band. And whereas Jennifer Lynn Bodo has no legal interest in real or personal property on the Bois Forte Reservation, which compels her presence to preserve or protect. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Jennifer Lynn Bodo is from the date of this resolution, which will be today, until further action by the Bois Forte Reservation Tribal Council, forbidden to enter upon the lands owned or controlled by the Bois Forte Band of Chippewa. And be it further and finally resolved that Jennifer Lynn Bodo shall not be permitted to enter any public building owned by the band, including Fortune Bay Resort Casino, any dwelling or home owned or controlled by the Bois Forte Housing Authority, or any other dwelling or home located on lands on the Bois Forte Band or subject to the jurisdiction of the Bois Forte Band. And that is the resolution. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
Move.
Motion to approve made by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chief. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. With that, we'll ask Reed to come on. I did go down Monday to federal court and read the victim impact statement to the judge. And Reed, if you could give us a brief legal aspect of the court case.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting me be here by remote. So Monday we met before Judge Eric Tostrud, who's one of the newer members of the Minnesota federal bench. In my previous firm, I actually started my career working in the same firm as him. He was a partner when I was a brand new associate. And so I've personally got to know him over the years and know him to be a pretty, he's tough. So generally speaking, and I know that it may seem like, you know, it's hard to sort of evaluate. Is 8 months a long time or is 8 months a little bit of time? On the whole, if you look at any financial crime that comes before federal court, if the defendant has no previous criminal record, it's virtually impossible for them to actually be sentenced to jail time. 99 point some number percent of the people that go to federal court on a financial crime issue that have no previous criminal history of any sort get probation. That is what Jennifer Budo was going for. The federal, the district attorney or the U.S. attorney was asking for a sentence of 18 months. The federal rules for prosecutors sort of lay out a guideline of how much time there would be based on aggravating factors. And so the top end, if you are a repeat offender, and you really have to be up in the millions of dollars to get that maximum 24-month sentence. But 24 months is sort of the top end. And so it was actually nice to see that Judge Tostard went out of his way to make the point that typically these cases would be, the sentence that would be handed down would be probation, but that he understood the really significant impact that these crimes had in this area. And he was very sensitive to the fact that this was happening on an Indian tribe. And so he really did deviate from the standard that they have in sentencing her to 8 months in federal prison. It definitely will be an outlier case for somebody that will get actual, federal prison time on a first offense like this. So I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has and go into more detail if you'd like me to.
One of the questions I have actually is, she claimed that it was for medical reasons why she embezzled from us. How much? What was the amount that was embezzled actually used for medical expenses? If you can relate that to the people listening.
Sure. The amount for medical expenses. Well, so the total amount that she stole was like $316,000 and change. The prosecutor made the point that went far beyond what she needed for medical expenses. They never were required to come up with like the exact number. They never argued over what were allowable medical expenses and what weren't. I want to say that of the medical expenses that she would have claimed, of the things that were on the list that looked like they would have been medically related, I want to say it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like $60,000 to $90,000. Because she pled guilty, they didn't have to go expense by expense and prove up what was medical and what wasn't. But frankly, the U.S. attorney took the position of they didn't care if it was medical or not. I mean, arguing that you're stealing because you have medical expenses, that's not a legal defense. That's not an excuse. Theft is theft. And what was helpful in the fact that she stole so much more than was even related to medical expenses. I mean, there were Amazon charges. There were just a variety of, out to eat charges that were in the record that had no relation to anything medical. But because she pled, they didn't have to go expense by expense and prove that up.
Yeah, I agree with you that no matter which way she tried to portray it as sympathy, theft is theft. She stole from us, and regardless of her medical expenses, she just stole, and it's like wow, and I think that reading that financial report that we received a while back, she's, from what I can gather from that report, she stole more around Christmas time than the other months because I had a breakdown month by month. And looking at the report, I was just shaking my head. I just getting mad, if you will. And myself, I apologize to the band members. When I first learned about this, we were in a meeting at Fortune Bay, and when we first heard about this, we were asked to be quiet. Don't tell the band members. Don't let anybody know. Just keep it to yourselves. And it was hard not to say something because I know band members wanted to know, and I wanted to share with them, but I couldn't because of the case, and I didn't want this case to be ruined or thrown out for any reason. So that's why I kept quiet.
And that's why the council could not make any comments at all regarding this because it was an ongoing investigation. And then once the charges were held, we were advised by legal not to say anything because we didn't want to jeopardize the case. And our apologies do go out to our tribal members, but it's over now. And that's why we had Reed come today. And, the case can be discussed. We have our letter that we sent down to the judge that is not sealed in the record. We ask that it be available for public comment, or not comment, but for public view. So we can put that letter on the website because some of the court records are sealed now. But yeah, so now that it's over, that's why we asked Reed to come on and give an explanation. And we do apologize to the band members, but looking at from our point, we wanted to make sure we didn't jeopardize the sentencing, the case, anything. So we thank you for your patience, but we just couldn't do it.
And the other thing too is, regarding Fortune Bay and the hotel over there, we have taken great strides and to ensure that this doesn't happen again. So we are doing everything we can to protect the interest of our casino and hotel over there, and to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
And all the other amenities, because that was one of the things, is there's so much security on the casino that some of the amenities were somewhat not as strict with their watching over of the dollars. So now all the amenities are going to be closely watched.
Can I add?
Okay.
Oh, just
Yes,
one
go
last-
ahead.
I think it's really important that everybody understands, and I'd encourage you to go back and read the transcript of the hearing. When you're sitting on our side of the table, it sort of makes your blood boil when you hear the defenses that are raised and the justifications that are put forward, particularly in this case. I think it's really important that everybody understand and appreciate that, at the very end, Judge Tastard made the very strong point that, I understand what you're saying, but you did this over a course of years and you could have stopped at any time and you didn't. You could have had that come to Jesus moment at, year after year after year, and you kept going. And it was the fact that, sometimes it was a lot of money, sometimes it was just a little bit. And that's why he said there's, I think he was compelled to sentence her to prison time. And, I can't highlight enough how the fact that although I know it may feel like 8 months is not a lot, 8 months in federal prison is very significant. And more important than that, it's 8 months in federal prison. It is probation after that. And, she's sentenced to the fact that she will never be in a position being able to handle anybody's money ever again, pretty much for the rest of her life. So this is a conviction that is going to be with her for forever. She will be in prison for nearly a year, and full restitution is required.
Great. Thank you, Reed.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
maybe you can explain that, you want to explain about the insurance covering the
Yes.
expense, and then she'll be paying that money back to the insurance company now?
Yes. Most casinos do carry insurance to cover that type of crime. I guess I could say the theft. And so we did receive reimbursement from Travelers Insurance, which they will be reimbursed minus our deductible, but that will be also included in the restitution for Jennifer Bodo. And so we did receive a majority of the money back, yes. Okay. Anything else? If not, thank you very much, Reed, for taking the time out of your day to come in and explain that to our tribal members.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Reed.
Thank you,
Hey,
Reed.
Gwitch, have a
Yeah,
good day.
thanks, Reed.
Thanks, Reed.
Good job. Okay, there, that is now over. That black cloud is now gone. Next, we have Danny Paradas, Catherine Mullen, and Renika Love. Food Sovereignty Research Project is first. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning. Bonjour, everybody.
Mhm.
I'm just making sure we have with us Catherine. There she is. And Renika, as she has time to join. We're presenting two
Okay.
projects. So the first one is with Catherine here. Our Boys Fort Food Sovereignty and Sustainable Agriculture Group. We're very, very blessed to have formed a partnership with Catherine and her vision for a solar commons project. And so we are starting a pilot. The beauty of what Catherine is developing is this idea of gathering a shared resource, which is the sun, solar energy, and capturing that and using it to provide funding to grassroots initiatives with Indigenous values. So we are a great fit. With that, I will offer the floor to Catherine to introduce herself and the Solar Commons concept. But what it means for our group is that we would have potentially about 3,000 per month for grassroots programming to work on food sovereignty initiatives, which is why we need the research. So give it away, Catherine.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to be here, and it's an absolute honor to work with Danny and Renika. And the Solar Commons project is, it's a research project that I've been working on for about 10 years. I'm a legal anthropologist, so my role here is to create some legal tools that will allow us to talk about sunshine as a commonwealth, and then use solar panels as a way to gather it, create savings on the meter of some entity that can use that electricity. And then they are obligated, after they take out the cost of the solar, they are obligated to pass it on to a trust fund. And the trust fund is peer governed by the beneficiaries. In this case, it's going to be Boys Fort Food Sovereignty Group and a group of trustees. And so we are building right now with Danny and Renika and others the peer governance structure for this. Our partners are LEN Incorporated, that is in Mount Iron, and it's Minnesota's only solar manufacturing company. They're super excited to be doing this. This will be the first Solar Commons in Minnesota. We are doing this with the Boys Fort Food Sovereignty Group as what we call a living lab. So we're research partners. We are co-creating the rules. We have invited Doug Thompson to come in and to help us create these agreements that will make sure that Indigenous values are presented are in the agreement. And then the overall goal of this is to create tools that everybody can use to do this with sun. And that the value of solar will be not just savings on a meter somewhere, but actually commonwealth to be used for community economies over a 20-year period that the sun is gathered by those solar panels. So that's the whole idea. And it's a research initiative right now. We are with Danny and Renika and we are creating these agreements, and these then from that, studying them, creating templates. We want to see this across the country as a community economy tool. So thank you for letting me be here, and thank you, Danny Renika, for working with us. And we do have a grant to work on this right now from the university that is going to Danny and Renika, and their work already as a capacity building tool. I'll let Danny talk more about that.
Language, Catherine. Yes. So when we first started talking about organizing, so again, we'll have about potentially 3,000 a month for 20 years to fund food sovereignty projects on reservation. To even start though, we've had slow goings, having limited capacity. I mean, we don't have staff. Renika, full-time farmer, myself, trying to keep my kids engaged and learning and single mamahood. Along with other stuff. So we told Catherine, we really need capacity building. So she went and got us $10,000 for that purpose to strengthen our community voice. So we have 10,000 to do a food sovereignty sort of like assessment. And then really to bring in our band members' voices in documenting our traditional food knowledge, and then helping us design our plan for having $3,000 every month for 20 years once the solar panel is installed on our commercial partner business. So we'd like to do this research on reservation through surveys, which would be online and hard copies.
Okay.
We'd also like to do focus groups as talking circles, especially with our elders, so that we can maybe share a feast and document the food knowledge they want us to have and to share with their families and our next generations. And then the third part of it, we're gonna do a real project and study how it works and if it would be effective for the use of those funds for 20 years. Renika has this beautiful idea. We already have a tiller that was granted from Honor the Earth. And so we're looking to use this tiller with 4 community families to do a home gardening service where we have youth workers that are paid a stipend, all of this covered by the grant, to remove that barrier of, I know, gardening, some of us don't have green thumbs, and, whether or not the family actually does their own gardening after, that's up to them, but at least that fresh food access, it's right there out their front door during the summer and early fall months. So we're really excited about that. We're just going to test that as a potential, and maybe community feedback comes back and it's completely different. So that's why we need to engage and educate through this research process. For the focus groups and talking circles, we're really lucky to partner with Essentia, and that will be our next resolution request. They are providing funds for incentives for up to 25 participants from Boys Fort. We'll have to meet their research needs, and we'll get into that in the next section. But it's a nice, it's like fusion between these different organizations. So with that, I'll leave it open now for questions.
This sounds like a really great project. In our area, we don't see a lot of gardens. I mean, there are the individual gardens, but the thing is that fresh food, having the ability, I do not have a green thumb. I did try gardening. I have grown some things, and actually I really like snap peas because I can grow those really easy. But yeah, I think it's a really good idea to have the surveys, the in-person focus groups, talking with the elders. It sounds like a great project, really great project, and we're really appreciative for Catherine and her getting that research grant and being involved in this project. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, we're really, really blessed for her support. She's been with us throughout. I can fly in on a meeting if I'm, traveling or busy, and we make it work. So thank you, Catherine, for keeping space for us.
Yeah. Now you had a request for an RTC resolution. We don't have a resolution, I don't think, drafted right now, do we? No. And so what we can do is we will get a hold of Jeff Holth, our attorney, and if he could get in touch with you, Danny, with regards to what you need in your resolution, we will get moving forward with that. Are you guys okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, and then we'll bring it forward. And how soon do you need that resolution?
whenever is clever. Our next steps are to finalize our budget items with Catherine and the funders with the Institute on the Environment through the U of M.
Okay.
And coordinate our project timelines with partners. So
Okay.
for us, it's just really having that expressed and documented approval to do this research.
Oh, yeah.
And so as long as we have that, we can work on those two pieces. And before we go public with anything, we'll just make sure we have that resolution. So within a couple weeks would be great.
Okay, great. We'll get it on the next agenda. Is that okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll do a motion right now, though, to approve the Food Sovereignty Research Project. We have a motion to approve made by Travis. Is there a second by Dave? Is that Dave?
Chief.
Chief, okay. Goodness gracious. Second by Chief. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. We'll get you that resolution.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Catherine, for
Thank
your help.
you.
Make wedge, Catherine.
Bye, Danny.
See you.
Okay, Danny, now you have the Essentia CHNA research.
Correct. Yeah, I was hoping Jenna Ballinger, I think she this morning was trying to jump on. So Jenna Ballinger, I worked with her as a colleague in a food systems work around Virginia, Minnesota.
There's Jenna.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me join today.
Yeah, welcome.
Jenna, I was given a short introduction, just that we worked together through the Rutabaga project. And so Jenna was pretty much at like almost every single meeting involving Rutabaga project and other Iron Range Partnership for Sustainability. She had reached out about the Essentials Community Health Needs Assessment that's happening right now in off-reservation communities and invited us in to provide feedback on their 3 research focus areas through focus groups. So this will be in partnership with our food sovereignty research, but I'll let Jenna talk about what Essentia needs out of this process, and then we are able to capture our food questions kind of in the same focus group / talking circle activities.
Yeah, so our community health needs assessment is something we're required to do every 3 years through the IRS. And our previous one that we conducted in 2018, 2019 did not get a lot of feedback or participation from people from the reservation. And I fully put that on myself for not putting out the effort for that. So this year I wanted to make sure that I did my due diligence because I think that's my responsibility, and Essentia as well. So our goal really is to get community feedback in general about these areas, because when we write this community health needs assessment and the implementation plan, it's really important that we're putting in strategies that include everyone's input. And so our hope is to go out and do these focus groups so that we can include you in this process, and to make sure that when we're creating these strategies that they involve Indigenous viewpoints as well. So I will be going to the school in Northwoods as well to get student and youth feedback. So just so you know, and I did that previously in the last CHNA, extremely useful. I'm hoping to talk to Indian education as well. And then, yes, we will be talking to elders, we'll be talking to families, trying to get to reach as many people as possible to get that feedback and to understand like what are the needs specifically in your area and how can we address that and be a good partner in those strategies in those areas. So food access, mental health, and social isolation are kind of our main topics. So usually what I do is I go in and we talk about an indicator that exists in the area and go through why that exists, such as a high percentage of mental health issues or food access. And then we'll go through step by step why that's a problem, what we should be doing to address it. And we come up with strategies from there with our steering committee in Virginia. So I'm really excited to partner this year, and Danny's been amazing. So I will do my best to be part of this process, and we will have funds also to pay for food and gift cards and whatever else is needed.
Great. I really like the Danny is really motivated with regards to food sovereignty. That's an area that a lot of tribes are really moving forward with, and doing this research and is very beneficial. And healthy food is really important to our people because with the high rate of diabetes, healthcare, this is really awesome. And I really want to commend Danny with her motivation and her ability to get all these projects going. She's plus being a single mom, like she said, with her kiddos. So we're really excited for this. And I think it'll be a very good benefit for the community members, elders, everybody. So wonderful. Any other questions for Jenna or Danny? Okay, she's requesting another resolution, so we'll do the same as we did with the last. We'll get together with Danny on what the resolution needs to say. We'll put it on the agenda. Is that okay for 2 weeks? Is that another okay deadline for the resolution, or do you need it sooner?
Danny, I don't know about, if we are able to get it sooner, that would be fantastic
Okay.
because we wanted to get these done hopefully in November, but
okay.
Whatever's on your timeline, we'll figure it out.
We can get it done sooner. So we'll have Danny get together with Jeff and yourself with regards to the resolution, and we'll get that to you. But we will do the approval for the Essentia CHNA Community Health Needs Assessment Research Project with Danny. We have a motion to approve that.
Move.
Moved by Chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. I look forward to this. This is really awesome. Great
Yeah.
job, ladies.
Oh,
Thank you,
yay,
ladies.
Jim,
Thanks,
good.
Danny.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll get you
thank
that
you.
resolution. I'll have Jeff get in
Definitely.
touch with you right away.
And just so you know, at the end of this, so it'll be a year's worth of research. At the end, we will provide a general public report back to the community.
Great, wonderful. Thank you very much. Miigwech.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Miigwech. Good
Thank you.
government. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, next we have Doris Isham and Dave Dance with the resolution for the ICDBG grant for the Vermilion Maintenance Building. Boy, say those letters fast. Holy. Good morning, Doris. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
Glad you could join us today. I need my resolution. Are you there, Doris?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Were you muted?
I was, yes, I was talking here and then you asked me if I was here.
That's usually what happens. That's the new COVID terms is you're muted.
So we have a resolution for your consideration and I'll let Dave present it. And if there's any questions, either he or I can answer them. Go
Okay.
ahead, Dave.
All right, thank you, Doris. Well, I believe you have the resolution in front of you. Was one perhaps a little bit surprised that was included in this resolution, and that was the addition of another $150,000 commitment from the band, specifically to provide the necessary furnishings for the food shelf. In the course of getting prepared to write this narrative, because we're asking HUD to fund space to establish a food shelf down in Vermilion within this maintenance building, I found it necessary to find out more about how this food shelf operation is working and how who runs it, how is it funded, how is it equipped, and who to talk to in that regard. And I was eventually led to Terry Morrison, and I had a list of questions that she provided answers to. And in the course of that, she pointed out, I asked about what about furnishings for the food shelf? Because as the plan stood, it was a blank space. And having visited the one in that lake, you know, you have a freezer up there, you've got shelving units, you got trucking mechanism to move the goods around within that building and so on. And there was no discussion had been taking place about how we're gonna provide that equipment to make that food shelf actually functional down there for millions. So Terry estimated the cost to provide the equipment and furnishings necessary to establish actually a working food shelf at about $150,000. I raised this issue with Kim. Kim said she's waiting in the wings this morning to provide advice to the council as well. But she said that is a perfect fit for some of the U.S. Treasury ARPA funds that you've received. That money is in your hands. It's available, and as a perfect fit, she said, go ahead and, you know, she advised me to go ahead and add it in the resolution. It'll help wrap up the narrative that I'm working on to show that we're not asking for space that would end up being unused, but you're making an investment in making that food shelf operational with this resolution, with the addition of this commitment within the resolution.
Okay. And Dave, can you explain the amount of funding for this project?
Yes. When I was first called in and our first meeting in Fortune Bay, we had, you know, just about everybody involved. You as a council had brought forward the notion of a food shelf being added within the maintenance building that was being planned for the Lake Vermilion community. And the grant that we're pursuing is the Indian Community Development Block Grant. There's $700,000 available there. There is a commitment being requested by me to meet a category in the rating factors of funding that is being contributed by the band as a form of leverage, and that brought the total project funding up to about $935,000. But in the course of further discussions, and particularly with Kim, she's been just really helpful to me and to this project. You know, she described to me and the availability of the funds that the band has received through this ARPA Act, the American Rescue Plan Act that was passed by Congress, and the availability of those funds in several categories that were eligible for participation in this program. And in order to really build a building that would serve the needs that the maintenance program has down in Vermilion, and the desire of the council to establish a food shelf in the Lake Vermilion community, that's how the commitment of 1.5 million of your ARPA funds from the U.S. Treasury Department came about, and that's how just explained how that $150,000 commitment directly to the food shelf arose. So that's kind of the background of how these numbers came to be.
Good. I can clarify too that I know that when we mentioned the ARPA funding, again, there are different pools of money within the ARPA funding. The 1.5 million is coming from the ARPA money that was sent to the BIA. That's not part of our U.S. Treasury money. It does come from the U.S. Treasury, but it went to the BIA. And so under the BIA, we have a category, aid to tribal government. Kim's coming on. Aid to tribal government, where we can, we received money through ARPA under BIA. Kim, do you want to explain that? Are you on?
Yep, I'm just getting all the way logged on.
Okay.
So we did, you know, we have the U.S. Treasury pot of money, which has different rules and stuff on it. And then we got the pot from the BIA, which has another, different set of rules. And if the ARPA money came through the agency, it follows the agency's rules. So since we're self-governance with BIA, you can use the aid to tribal government pot as matches for federal grants, as long as it's a BIA function. On the US Treasury ones, right in the legislation, it says the US Treasury ARPA funds cannot be used for matches for federal grants. So that was where that first started with. And then I believe there's extra points assigned to having the food shelf to get extra points in the application rating. Isn't it correct, Dave?
Yes, there is.
Yep. And so because we're over the match, we met our match with the BIA funds, and talking to Dave, and this was yesterday, and I believe I know I talked to Kathy over the last 2 days about this.
Yep.
Is to put that to earmark 150,000 out of the US Treasury funds for the FF&E. There's a couple things that can happen here. We could come across another grant possibly, because the grants are just starting to roll out between now and then. And we could, probably, as long as we have the 150,000 commitment, that may free it up. If we don't get awarded this grant, then, we're back. We haven't spent it. We're not, we're just setting it aside for this. It helps us get more points for the grant. And it works out better because it's all strategically, we got so many pots of money and moving stuff around. But also we talked about there isn't time between now and the date that this grant application is due. Also is that we can talk to IRRB for some infrastructure costs related to this, because we've applied for this grant under a similar project before, and we had a commitment from IRRB, but we won't be able to get the commitment before that date. So there may be a small amount freeing, and if we get that, it may be some changes that might be needed to the building, frees up of the construction costs, or there's the money for the FF&E. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. But this way it gives us the max, talking to Dave, this gives us like a lot of points and plans in place to show how we're going to take care of the building and make it a food shelf.
So Kathy, for the sake of some people that may not know the layout of the place of the current maintenance garage, I just wanted to explain that right now the maintenance garage is in the heart of the area downtown. And our main location of Lake Vermilion. We have our medical dental clinic, our tribal government, the community center there, and then our Head Start childcare program. And so daily, numerous times a day, there's cars driving by the maintenance facility. And then when you mix that with maintenance equipment, that's just a matter of time where an accident might happen. And so the location that we're talking about relocating the maintenance garage is out to that clearing that's across for the Fortune Bay entrance. And so we are gonna, in essence, be removing the safety issue from downtown Lake Vermilion.
Yes, thank you for that explanation, Doris. And Chief likes that downtown Lake Vermilion. So it's a much needed project, and I know we applied for this before and weren't funded. So we've contracted with Dave to come on and do the grant writing, because he's an excellent grant writer, Dave, you are. And so we're really looking forward to this application, and utilizing some of the BIA funds, the majority, with the 1.5 that Kim mentioned. And granted, there, like even for the FF&E out of the US Treasury, there's also a lot of state dollars that are going to be coming down for food stuff. So we'll be able to, I'm sure, do a lot of things that we weren't planning on doing, but the FF&E could come from the state funds too. So there's a lot of, and then the infrastructure bill that, the feds are still trying to do. So a great job. And any questions for Doris and Dave on the project, grant application, resolution?
Yes, on page 2, where we talked about the $700,000 to construct the Lake Vermillion Public Works and Foods shell facility. What happens if we don't get that grant, or did we already get it?
And we're in the process of applying for this application to do on
Okay,
Monday.
but what happens if we don't get it? Then what do we do?
We'll look for other funding.
For the funding, okay. And then just to be clear, on a second paragraph where we talked about the 1.5 million, that's funding that we're going to be utilizing from the funds we already have, correct? It's just for the band members.
From the BIA, yes.
From the BIA, okay, yep. Okay, and then the last one is where it's on the last paragraph where we talked about 51,200 from its unrestricted general fund to cover the daily cost of daily maintenance, repairs, replacement, etc. Is this going to be an ongoing expense?
Yes.
Somebody has to maintain the building, the operation of the building.
That's the lights, the water, everything.
Okay, and we do have it in the budget for this.
Well, so they already, Chief, maybe you can explain a little
We
bit.
currently probably that much it costs us to heat and keep our other facility running right now, the one we currently have.
Okay. All righty. That's all I have.
Okay.
I did have a question. You think we could name that new road there that's gonna go over there, St. Peter Drive?
No. Good Lord. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you,
Doris.
Dave and Doris. Do we have a
Hey,
motion
Kim.
to approve the resolution? Yes, thanks, Kim.
I move.
Moved by Chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Great job, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you very much.
St. Peter Drive, okay. In downtown Vermillion.
Downtown, beautiful downtown.
Beautiful downtown.
Oh, okay. Next we have Doc Holmes, Chris Holmes with a letter for Renika Love.
Oh, she did ask. I did just get something from her. And she was asking if she missed the meeting.
No? Did you tell her no?
Well, I thought she was on the other one. So I said, yeah, we just had it with Danny and them.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
So Renika is requesting from you a approval through a letter of recommendation to USDA, the Agricultural Marketing Service arm of USDA, for technical assistance and funding for hemp plant test plot development on the reservation here at Nett Lake, and to procure a hemp producer license certification. It's an allowable process as described in the Farm Bill, and since Boys Fort as tribal government doesn't have or currently have a hemp production plan in place and has no prohibiting ordinances, that opens up the opportunity for tribal members who can be allowed to pursue the program. And as long as it's done within reservation boundaries. So the letter that you have in front of you will go to the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. And I would mention also that since in the absence of any prohibiting ordinances or a plan approved, a tribal government hemp production plan, USDA themselves would provide the administrative and technical oversight, and they would have to come in and do sample collections and check product standards, which have to be maintained within certain limits. So
Yep.
So that responsibility would fall on USDA. And that's what I have. If you have any questions.
No, I just want to give a little explanation here that this letter of support for Renika Love is because she's seeking USDA approval and funding to develop a hemp production project and obtain that license. And she wants to establish test plots. So I think that, Renika's trying to start her own business and or do some research as regarding hemp. So I think that we should support her as a tribal member.
Yes.
Any
Yeah.
questions?
I agree with that. My only question is that, did legal get a chance to read the letter?
I see
Yeah.
Jeff is CC'd, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff and I worked on the letter together, so he's reviewed it and seen it.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, do we have no other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the letter of support for Renika Love?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Chief, seconded by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. Next L is what, Nikki Irving?
Nikki Irving with requesting the mobile vaccine unit for ambulance conversion.
Is Nikki on? Oh, there she is. Hi, Nikki. Good morning.
Hello.
Okay, we have a agenda item for, you want to convert the mobile vaccine unit to an ambulance.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if we can go ahead and start doing that with the option to, if you guys still needed to use it as the mobile vaccine unit, you guys can. So.
Mm-hmm. I know that our current ambulance is having some mechanical issues or electrical issues or something, isn't it? And it's we need to.
Talking to Joel, he said there would be a lot in labor to fix it, and there's some other issues too with it right now. I mean, it's still running, but how long, I don't know.
Okay.
We got almost 91,000 miles on it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think, there's a need for the ambulance to be in top shape, tip top shape. So you guys have questions for Nikki?
How soon would you be able to convert it?
That would depend on how fast we can get some of the equipment. Right now, talking to one of the vendors, it'd probably be a month or two out on the cot.
Okay.
And that's kind of the main one, is the cot, getting the cot in there.
Okay.
That is the one that's all wore out and stuff, huh?
The cot?
Yeah.
No, I mean, our cot is good. I mean, the cot we have in there now, it's just getting the setup to lock it in there.
Oh,
okay. Yep. Okay. So the sooner the better, because, the other thing is, I hate to say it, but that supply chain issue that's affecting everybody. So the sooner the better, I think. Are you guys okay with that? permission to convert the mobile vaccine unit to ambulance. We have a
Move.
motion to approve that, Shane?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dave, right? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, now we have Tony. Wake 'em up with Adopt a Highway Palmquist Road. Good morning, Tony.
Morning. So what we want to do, so we got a big stretch on that Lake Road, me and my family, that we do adopt a highway for. And we want to move that on to the reservation.
Okay.
And I had a little bit conversation with Joel about it already, and he thinks it's a really good idea. But where we want to do it at, so we're going to start at the reservation line on Palmquist Road and go to Four Corners, or
Okay.
whatever 4 miles is. But he said to get the approval from you guys first.
Sure.
Because signage is involved.
Okay.
He said we could get signs made. But we'd rather do it on the reservation rather than on the county side.
Okay.
And it would take a little bit of, coordinating with the garbage pickup guys, when we do it, calling them and having them pick up the bags, but we really want to do it on the reservation.
Okay. Understandable. Okay, any questions for Tony? I don't see any. So do we have a motion to approve Tony's request for adopt a highway sign on Palmquist Road, beginning at the reservation sign and going 4 miles, possibly up to or past Four Corners?
Ooh.
Okay, moved by Chief, seconded by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So
I have
we
one
gotta
question.
Move.
Oh, wait, no, what?
I had one question.
Yeah.
Maybe we could look into maybe doing Highway 65 too.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're hoping to start a trend.
Yes,
We're
I think
hoping
that's a
more
really good
people
idea.
See us doing it, then more people will come forward and ask to do it also.
Yeah.
We could promote it too.
Promoted
So I
like
think that's
on
a
the
really good
reservation.
idea.
Yeah.
Even in Vermillion.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Okay, next we have Amber Zapata with the farmer's market.
I don't see her on.
Oh, this is through the SNAP Ed Education Coordinator and the American Indian Cancer did a survey. No.
Nope.
Okay, well, we'll table Amber. Well, a motion to table Amber, and then we'll get her on the next meeting.
Move.
Moved by Shane,
Second.
by Chief, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay, Ellen.
Okay, so we have resolution for vaccination requirement for new hires.
Okay, is there any question on the resolution? Oops. I'll read the end of it. It says, now therefore be it resolved that effective immediately, As a condition of receiving an offer of employment, prospective employees of the Bois Forte tribal government and band-owned businesses must either, one, present acceptable proof of receiving a single dose of COVID-19 vaccine or the first dose of a 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine to their designated Human Resources Department, or be approved for a medical or religious exemption for the vaccine requirement. Be it further resolved, for the purposes of this resolution, the form of acceptable proof of COVID-19 vaccination and the available exemptions to the vaccination requirement are set forth in resolution 16-22. Be it further resolved that prospective employees who present acceptable proof of the first dose of the vaccine to Human Resources receiving an offer of employment and who subsequently accept an offer of employment must further present proof to Human Resources receiving their second dose within 30 days. Be it further and finally resolved that failure of a newly hired employee to obtain a second dose or a 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine within the timeline required by this resolution shall result in the employee being terminated from employment, except in cases where medical exemption is granted based on the employee's adverse reaction to the first dose. We have a motion to approve that resolution.
Move.
Moved by Chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay. Next, L.
Okay, the next thing we have is the a resolution for National Congress of American Indians, NCAI, tribal and individual membership dues.
Okay, this is for the National Congress of American Indians, and the amount of those dues are $6,500. This allows us to vote on NCI issues and other matters concerning the National Congress of American Indians. Any question? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve that resolution. It's rather lengthy.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Chief. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Do we have no other business? So do we? What?
Adjourn.
Oh, motion to adjourn made by Chief. Is there a second? No, you can't second.
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. First, I'd like to say good job, Elle, for
Thank you.
filling in.
Good job. Yep.
And also, we've been very, I want to thank the communities in Nett Lake and Vermilion. We've been very great with our COVID-19 pandemic here. Our numbers are down again. And everybody's doing a great job at either masking, getting vaccinated. Our powwow had a great turnout and everything went fine. And everybody is doing a great job. I just want to make sure that people know that, because there's a lot of places that are seeing spikes or whatever. So our numbers continue to stay low, and we want to say Chi-miigwech to everybody for their part in that. So with that, please stay safe, wear your masks, social distance, wash your hands, and Gigo Abaman.
You go on, man.